So for this video, I have one simple goal to show you guys 5 ways to actually earn more money and to be able to actually work less. But there is one truth I want to tell you guys that mostly no one tells you, and it's basically making more money, earning more money does not equal automatically, without effort, without you choosing it, actually working less time. And here's what I mean. My friend graduated college, got a job making $75,000. 3 years later, quit the job. Now he has another job making a little bit over $200,000. Here's my question to you guys. Does he actually work less now and earn more money? The answer is no. He earns more money and works just about the same. That's what I actually want to avoid, okay? The goal is not, well, I want my time to be worth more, which is actually a great goal. But the goal is also, yeah, you want that, but at the same time, you actually want to have a lot more free time. This way, you're not just selling your time for more money. Very important. Now, let's get right into this video and do me a favor and smash the like button. Now, number one, guys, is actually going to be to increase your level of skill. Now, it's pretty obvious, okay? If all you have is minimum wage job skills, you're going to be making minimum wage. Minimum wage is basically almost like slavery because you have to consistently keep working and working and working to earn the minimum possible. On top of that, if you actually have an entry level skill, you're going to make entry level money. But if you have a solid skill, you're going to be able to earn a lot more money. One very popular skill right now is going to be, for example, with like coding and like anything with like tech companies. But there's a lot of other skills too, like plumbing, HVAC, nursing, and so on. There's a lot of skills out there. You just have to look them up. But there are real skills. You actually have to go out there and work. Here's an idea that I'm not a big fan of. Everyone is just so focused on, I want a side hustle, side hustle, side hustle. But a side hustle is something you do on the side. So you're going to keep your same level of skill, have a side hustle. It basically means, well, I'm going to trade more time for more money, which basically means you're just working a lot more and spreading yourself a lot more thin. I would actually prefer to use my free time instead of for a side hustle to actually upgrade my skill. And remember, the harder and the more difficult the problem is to actually fix, well, the more money you're actually going to make and the harder it is to actually replace you. And it does not have to be, for example, I don't want to be doing anything with like IT and like cybersecurity, Tommy. The answer is that's not true. There's a lot of other jobs out there. For example, like I said before, even like repairing, for example, like elevators. Who does that? Do you know how to do that? Or for example, soldering things. Or construction jobs, you know? There are a lot of jobs out there that they're hard to do, require skills, and you can actually control your time a lot better. And that way you can actually upgrade your skill, earn more money. And when you earn more money, the goal is not to say, hey, if I can earn now instead of 15 per hour, 25, I'm going to use a 10 to get a car, get an apartment, get this and get that. No, don't do that. Say, hey, if I only needed 15 before and now I'm earning 25, I'm going to be working less hours every single month now and be able to have a lot more free time to do more things I actually enjoy. Something to consider. Now, number two is going to be change job agreements. Early on, when I first graduated college, I got a job doing, for example, like data entry, and I noticed something that usually work only takes about 4 hours, at most maybe 5 hours, and after that, you're basically all ticked out, okay? You have no more energy to actually give if you're actually locking in and focusing. And I also realized that my job was at a cubicle the entire day. And I was like, why can't I be at home doing this job? And it was because they said, hey, we don't have the capacity, security, we don't have the system. But that's not true. They just didn't want you to actually work from home, and they didn't really have the system to actually have that system on a virtual computer or whatever. But the truth is, you could always negotiate with your boss these days to actually give you a hybrid job where you say, hey, can I have, for a trial basis, be able to go home twice a week or 3 times a week and actually work a job from home that way, right? And that way I don't have to be in the office all the time. Now, the benefit is you save a lot more money, for example, on travel and so on, and you also just work the hours needed to do the job and don't have to be there for an entire 8 hours just because that's how things are done. That helps out a lot. And by the way, there are a lot of videos on YouTube on how to ask your boss to give you a remote position or a hybrid position. So look that up on YouTube. I don't have the time to go all the way deep into it in this video, but it is possible. It is negotiation, and it is you showing your performance can actually be better at home. And that means more money in their pockets. So also consider that. And by the way, you could also potentially go from being a W-2 employee to being a 1099, a contractor, and then offering that to your boss, and then they save more money that way, but you also save a lot more time on your side. Now, number 3 is going to be you could always lower your expenses. And here's what I mean. It's not just directly tied to, well, earn more money, work less, but it's also on the side of work less because you don't need to earn as much money. Here's what I mean. If I was still living right now in New York, which I don't, I live in Dominican Republic, I would need about $3,500 or $4,000 a month for expenses. Here, I only need about $1,200 and about $1,500 if I actually want to be a little bit more fancy. But that means, hey, I need a lot less money because I don't have as much of expenses like I used to. Now, this could mean for you selling a house, switching apartments, selling the car, switching the car, getting a paid off car instead, okay? Cutting the bills you don't need, and just doing a lot of things. You basically say, hey, I have a budget, I need this, I don't need this. And remember, the reason so many people work a job where it's 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day really when you actually do the math, is because they have so many bills they need to pay. If those bills are not there anymore, then you don't need to work all those hours anymore, okay? And you could basically earn even less money potentially, but be a lot more free because you don't need to spend that money somewhere else. By the way, I want to apologize. I have a chest cold. I'm still recovering from it. So if I sound weird, that's why I sound weird, okay? Now, number 4, guys, is going to be increase your passive income. Now, by far, it's the most popular way. Everyone talks about it. My favorite way to get passive income is going to be via the stock market because it's just what I know and I understand it very well. And I invest into index funds, into specifically the S&P 500. But my math early on was very simple, and I'm going to show you how I actually did it, okay? My math was not, I want to make $10,000 a month from passive income. That was never my math, never my goal really. My goal was just basically, I want to make passive income to cover every single one of my bills. So some bills were like my hair, my phone bill, my internet bill, my food bill, things like that, okay? So a very simple way to actually do this is go on your phone and type in what your monthly bill actually is. So let's say at the time I was paying $70 for my phone bill. Multiply that by 12 to get the annual cost. That's about $840. And then in the stock market, if I'm basically trying to have the stock market pay for this bill, well, we'll just multiply it by 25. And that tells me I need to have at least $21,000 invested. And then that way, if I grab 5% of that 21,000, I get the money, or 4% actually, is 4%. Sorry about that. So just divide it by 5. Yeah. So just multiply it by 0.04%. Well, now I get back the $840 that I actually need for the phone bill or whatever. And when you actually do this math, so again, just multiply the annual bill cost by 25. That's how you get the math. You get to find out how much money you're actually going to need to cover these bills. When I saw how much money I needed, which is basically a lot of money, I said, no, I'm not going to pay $70 for a phone bill. I'm going to pay 30. And 30 times 12, well, that's 360. And 360 times 25, well, that's 9,000 instead of 21,000. You see? So I was able to actually get what I needed a lot faster because I just basically figured out ways to replace my bills with cheaper bills, okay? And still get what I actually wanted. Now, there is one more thing I do want to say about passive income. Be careful with the idea of taking on a lot of risk to earn passive income, because I know people that owe $1 million or even more just to earn like $1,200 or $2,000 a month from passive income from real estate. And again, you have to remember, the whole goal is to earn more, work less. But if the cost of that is basically having so much leverage and having so much debt that if things don't work out, it collapses on you, then you got to be very careful with that. Because when you're making a plan that things have to go right for 30 years or for a very long time, and if things don't work out, you start back at zero, I don't like those plans. They're very risky. So that's why I rather just go slow. And the last one here, guys, is going to be number 5, is going to be start implementing the 90-15 rule. Now, this rule basically says you're basically going to be on for 90 minutes and you're going to be off for 15 minutes. That basically says, hey, I'm going to be working for an hour and a half and then I'm not going to be doing anything for 15 minutes. And you do at least like 3 rounds or 4 rounds of this. And what ends up happening is usually about 3 rounds is what you're going to be able to do at capacity, because it's very hard to actually concentrate for that long. But you start doing that, and guess what happens, okay? You stop wasting so much time. And a lot of times we have jobs that we're working 8 hours or 10 hours, but when you actually look at what you're doing, you're wasting a bunch of time, and that's also a part of it. So guys, thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it a ton. I'll see you guys next time. Like and subscribe.